Okay, we had to start with some technical glitches in it, so yeah. But anyways, hey guys, this is FPL Tips and welcome back to another live stream. This is the first episode in the preview stream before Game Week 1 for FPL season 2021-2022. So yeah, let me know if the audio is clear, if I'm not lagging, if everything is fine. Just let me know if my video is not lagging because I'm looking at a couple of screens and I think it looks like I'm lagging a bit. Audio fine? Yeah, Niken says audio. I think audio should be fine by now. Okay, so we will dive into others' teams as well, but we'll look at my team first. Yeah, probably the video looks decent. So a lot of people asked me to put on the video last season, and hence we have the video now. Uh, okay. Hi Ash, yeah, doing good, doing great. Hi Nihal, I think. Hi Varun as well. Hi Ashok. Yeah, okay. So we'll dive into the questions. We'll straight look into my team, the fixtures, and everything I've planned for you guys. We'll take the team review questions at the end. So Gautam, I'll take the team review questions at the end once everything is done because it will be easier to process every team quick and fast at that time. Is Cancelo nailed on with Walker, Mendy, and Zinchenko? No, I think Mendy isn't preferred. He was also on the sale list, as far as I know. So Mendy might get sold, even though if he doesn't, I think Zinchenko is first and Cancelo is competing between Walker and Zinchenko for those positions. Hi Kunal, doing great, doing great. We have 24 people watching right away. Before we begin and dive into the stats and everything, do hit the like button, really helps us grow as a channel over here. This is not my team, guys. This is not my final team for sure. I was just playing around with the draft. Let's see. I will reveal what my current draft is at the end of the stream. But yeah. With White gone, not so keen on Brighton defense. I am still keen on the Brighton defense. I think it's more of a system-driven defense, not a player-driven defense. So it's not like a Virgil van Dijk for Liverpool. I think Brighton are more systematic. Even if they have a couple of defenders missing, they will still defend in the same pattern. So I'm not worried about White leaving Brighton in that aspect. Also, for people who are watching me on video for the first time, I will keep looking on this side due to the chat to read all the chats. So yeah, that's gonna happen a lot. And that is the primary reason I never wanted to put on videos on the live stream, but nevertheless, we'll try this as well. Dunk in place of Lamptey as a Brighton cover. Heard he has slight knock too. He will miss the first game week according to me, as far as I know. Weltman may tuck instead into a back three. Also, I did promote Duffy a lot, but as far as I've been reading recently, I think Gross could start right wing back like he did last season, and Weltman may play in a back three, not in a wing back role. So also for the people who are looking as Weltman as a wing back position in place of Lamptey, you might not get the deliverables you are expecting him to do. So that's something you want to take care of as well, and maybe Duffy isn't the best option after all then. Yeah, he's still injured, Nehal. He's still injured. Also, not keen on Tony. I am highly keen on Tony, and I'll explain why. Okay, I just show why. There is team selected percent 32.1%. First fixture against Arsenal, second Crystal, third Aston, fourth Brighton, fifth Villa, fifth Wolves. So I think it's a mediocre fixtures against, not really tough. I think even Arsenal isn't very tough as a first fixture. So, and I don't want to go in game week 1 with a player who's 32% owned and he's 6.5 only. Because if he scores or assists in that game, his price will rise for sure, even before the game weekend. So I want to capitalize on that as well to a certain extent. Is my voice lagging a lot? I mean, is my YouTube stream lagging a bit? I think maybe there is some lag. But I'll just check if why is there a delay. This should reduce the delay. I think the delay was huge for me as well. It's not lagging. It's not. Is this your team? No, it's not my team. It's just a random draft that I did. So I will first look into the fixtures and then we'll proceed. In my opinion, that's what I have planned for people who don't know, who haven't looked into the fixtures yet. They can take a look at fixtures as well. So yeah, I've highlighted all the fixtures guys in accordance of preference, who have better fixtures to the least preference fixtures. So you can look at Everton at the top, Liverpool, Watford, Brighton, Wolves, till down to Chelsea. Now I'm already double on Liverpool, double on Everton for a reason. Also, I just want to talk about Everton. I'll be posting on Everton tonight later on Instagram as well. But I watched their highlight game again, their friendly against I think Millinois or some team. Basically, they played a 4-2-3-1, kind of a setup where they had Townsend on the left, Iwobi on the right, James as a number 10, and Moise Keane as the striker. Also, they were down 1-0 by halftime or something like that, and they were trying to attack. During that attack, Dini was pushed as a left winger and not as a left wing back, so that's something to take care of as well. And there were cases where Townsend was pushing wide, he was holding the width, and Dini was cutting inside the penalty area. So I think that gives us clear and enough indication that Dini is a really decent buy. Looking at those fixtures, also there's an history that whenever Benitez has a decent preseason with the team, he usually does start well. So looking at the fixtures, I would nail down definitely Dini over Shaw as well. I don't think Shaw is a very necessary player and very necessary buy for two reasons. One, he's still injured, he's not recovered. A rib injury does take a lot of time, and I'm really doubtful that if he gets injured again, I don't want to waste a transfer there. So I'm slightly off on Shaw. He is also taking a slightly more budget, which does not allow me to upgrade my midfielder attack. But I think Digne is worth it. His fixture runs till game week 8 is also decent. And you don't have the headache of shifting Digne to someone. With Shaw, if he gets injured, you'll have that headache. Yeah, is it worth doubling up the Liverpool defense? Yes, it does look like it is worth it, because if you look at those 6 fixtures, 5 are against teams which are decent, but they can keep clean sheets. Out of the 5, 2 of the easy fixtures are at home, so I see a clean sheet there as well. It does not limit your... When you start the game, if you're getting 16-18 points from a player in the first 6 game weeks, I think it's a decent start. So you probably want to capitalize there if you want, and you'll give up on a midfielder, but that's totally up to you. I do think that the ceiling for Robertson is slightly less, but fair enough. I think if I knew who's going to start between Matip, Gomez and Konate, I would preferably pick the second defender as a centre back and not Robertson. I don't see Robertson and Trent both going ballistic and scoring goals or giving assists in the very first 6 game weeks, scoring 10 or 12 odd hauls. I don't see that happening. Maybe one of them goes all out attack, you can switch to that player, but I think the second one should be a centre back. It gives you a budget pick from the Liverpool defense, it gives you the clean sheet points. Maybe an odd goal as well, because you've seen that Matip was also very attacking against Hertha Berlin, and even the last friendly he was much more attacking inside the box. I think if he starts, if he's guaranteed to start, I think he's a decent buy over Robertson. It also brings an equation of points per million, where I think Matip will provide better points per million in the first 6 game weeks over Robertson. Nikhil, the problem with Shaw with me is that I don't want him to get injured, and then I don't want to waste a transfer there. If you look at the number of options and number of transfers we already have to make, I don't see it as a very viable option there. And I'll show you my draft. And not taking Shaw will slightly improve your midfield and attack, which is something I'm going for as well. Yeah, that's because Richarlison and DCL weren't playing, but I know that they will be playing later on. Richarlison will miss the first 2 game weeks. Brazil is expected to go ahead in the Olympics, and with DCL, I think there's slight competition. He's still going to be first preference striker for Everton, but I do see like a 70-80 minute rotation coming in for him with Moise Keane there. If you had to pick one player from Man United except Bruno, who would be at this moment, it would be Greenwood. I have the stats, you've seen it, everyone has seen it. I know Sancho, but again he's 2 million expensive than Greenwood, and he's not a proven Premier League player. He might be asked to play on left, which is good, which is his preferred position, but again I want to see him play. And a lot of Man United forums from now on also believe that he won't start the Leeds game itself. So having Sancho in your team 9.5 million and missing out on the first game against Leeds at home could be huge as well. So that's something on my mind. Best 9 million goalkeeper option. Anyone at 9 million you can buy literally everyone in the game. Any combination of keepers 9 million should be the limit, but yeah, 9 million. Is Greenwood over Bruno all right to get the funds or for Kevin De Bruyne or Kane if he joins City? If Kane joins City, I think don't just use the Bruno funds to Kane and don't overthink it. You can have Greenwood in your midfield as a backup option, but don't overthink it. But yeah, these are the fixtures and definitely the teams that I am targeting as well as Everton, Liverpool, Brighton for clean sheets to some extent, United, uh, not targeting Leicester and Arsenal. Brentford, I think the first five fixtures are exceptionally good. Not targeting City as well. Aston Villa for the first three, and and I think Aston Villa, Bundia, and if Grealish most likely will leave to City as far as I've heard. So it's Bundia in midfield for Watkins, and I think it's a decent buy if you buy Aston Villa players in the first for the first three games. You can switch to an Everton midfielder for 7 million if you have the budget there. From Bundia, you can switch to Jimenez, you can switch to Wilson. So there are a lot of options in terms of switching off from the Aston Villa players. I wouldn't recommend a defender again because I don't use a lot of transfers on defenders. Yeah, also an important point that I want to make right now is plan your team only for the first six game weeks, and here is why. Game week 7, post game week 7, there is the international break. If you see the screen, there is huge fixture swings for almost 7-8 teams, which are not the preferred teams in the first six fixtures. So I've taken the best fixtures for the first six game weeks and then the best fixtures for the next 10 game weeks. And Chelsea, Spurs, Burnley, Arsenal. Arsenal I've put in twice. Arsenal, Leicester, City, Southampton, Wolves. These are the best teams. And if you see, most of the teams are missing out from the best fixtures in the first six game weeks. I think Leicester is there, Arsenal is there, but I've not seen a single draft with Leicester or Arsenal players. Maybe Ben White, but he's not. I'm not that guaranteed with the starting three fixtures as well. So ideally, I would suggest that if you're going wildcard, game week 7 should be your aim for wildcard. Game week 8 at max. It gives you a good swing from game week 8 to 20 with these teams. So you can double up on the Chelsea defense, maybe a Chelsea and City defender. Get in Son or Kane. You can get in an Arsenal player or Arsenal, maybe Pepe, maybe Ben White at that moment. Southampton also has decent fixtures. Ings would be fit by then, and if he stays there, he'll be in form probably. Yeah. So and even Wolves, you can see the Wolves from fixture run from game week 3 itself. But I'm just saying that even game week 7 is a decent time where you have 6 game weeks to judge what the Wolves team would look like. Again, Sarr. Now, I'll discuss what the problem with Sarr is. The problem with Sarr for me is that Watford are not a very attacking team. He's a great individual player. He will do good. He will get chances. He'll create those chances as well. But the problem is with the setup that Watford will go into. When you look at Watford's game, Watford has 3 home games in the first 6 fixtures. The away game is against Tottenham, which is a very tough fixture. And we know that statistically at home, the fixtures against Villa, Wolves, and Newcastle, which should be relatively easy fixtures, they're going to play defensive football, but because that is how they play. So you're losing 3 good fixtures for attacking returns, and you will be more focused on the defensive returns from Watford, which puts me off Sarr a lot. Because if these are away fixtures, there is more likely that they attack, but most likely they will defend. That's how they've been playing. They keep position, try to defend most of the time, and then try to score in the last 30 minutes. So that puts me off Sarr big time. Jota, Salah, we'll compare the midfielders. Rafinha in first draft, so replace him with Bundia. Don't see myself playing him in the first 3 game weeks. If you're not playing him in the first 3 game weeks, replace him. Yeah, after game week 3, there's an international break too, but I think it's too short. It's too less a span to judge teams in first 3 game weeks. If you need your wildcard, obviously you can play. You have to be that flexible. But I think ideally, try to aim your team for the first 6 game weeks. Plan your transfers for the first 6. And after that you can switch around easily. Who do you keep Salah after wildcard post? Would you keep Salah after wildcard post game? Depends on his performance. Now, I just switched it off again. But again, depends entirely on his performance. I would like to keep Kevin De Bruyne and maybe Salah because I can fit 2 players and Son. And what I usually do is I downgrade Trent after, and I don't keep him for the entire season. I am more of a player who believes in points per million rather than just points. So I'm most likely to downgrade Trent, get in Son, get in De Bruyne, get in Salah, or maybe not De Bruyne, maybe Mahrez or Grealish. That's the thing I've planned for now. What do you think about Rodrigo? Any player who hasn't proven minutes till now or is a risk for minutes, avoid him. Straight away avoid him because you don't know how many minutes he'll get, which becomes a very problem. At the very start of the game, you want to get players who are guaranteed minutes. That's it. Thoughts on Wolves with new manager? He's playing a bit defensive now. Talking about Wolves as well. Ain Nouri looked really good, but again I read a thread where he is playing left wing, but I think Marcel is also playing left wing back, which does put me in a bit of a doubt whether I should buy him or not. I'll probably look for the first three games. I don't expect Wolves to be very good attacking wise. I think they'll do defensively decent like they have usually, but I'm not really bullish on them as a team with the new manager. I think Crystal Palace is a bit will as a team bounce back with the new manager rather than Wolves. Both punting on Cody or go with Fofana. I think with Fofana, I'll post this on Instagram. I just want, if you can monitor as well, Leicester are playing a back four, and if they play a back four in the next two fixtures as well, I don't see Fofana starting. For one reason is that Soyuncu and Evans are the preferred centre backs, and I don't see Fofana making way into that back line. So if Leicester again go out in a friendly with a back four, or maybe in the Community Shield final against City in a back four, avoid Fofana in my opinion. I don't see him starting in the Premier League then. I think Fofana starts only in a back three, otherwise he doesn't. Yeah, will Bundia be useful? He plays quite deep. And what do you mean? What do you think about Mane? I think he would fire this season. I think Mane and Trent are performance correlated. So if Trent is performing, Mane usually does well as overall, and that will happen. I think Mane will do decent. Nice. The friendlies I saw, he was pretty much inside the box. He was closer to the goal than Salah at times as well. And majority of the crosses were targeted for him and another in the box. So I think he'll do decent. I was also contemplating going a double up on Mane, but we'll discuss that in my team draft. Would you consider Wilfried Zaha? No, I wouldn't. His fixtures aren't really great. If you look at the fixtures, they're not really appealing at the very start. And then again, under a new manager, I'm not sure how he'll perform. Wilson a good shout on unnecessary risk up front and get Antonio instead. He's a decent shout. I think he's statistically always performing against West Ham. He's good against Aston Villa, good against Southampton. For the first three, I think he's decent. I think Wilson is a good differential. I'm going Antonio as well, but the problem with Antonio is that he has a Europa League fixture between 3 or 4, I think, or 4 or 5. Give me 4 or 5. So I'm not particularly very confident on his hamstrings. I genuinely mean it that he's a very injury-prone player and his hamstrings could go off any minute. His minutes could be managed in the Premier League because of the Europa League as well. They are trying to sign Brathwaite, as far as I know, for a 15 million deal. If that happens, that could help Antonio, but on the other hand, could be against him. So if you want to go differential, extremely differential, maybe Newcastle is a decent option. Both of them are really, really low. So just pick one and stick for the entire 6 weeks is what my suggestion would be. The fixture run for both the teams are almost similar. There's not a lot of difference between the caliber of the fixtures or the caliber of the teams. Also, it depends on West Ham at home. Usually, they play under a lot of pressure. Teams do perform very much better in terms of performance at home, but West Ham as a team, a really team that is under the pressure of the fans, they do bottle a couple of leads as well. So I'm not really confident of West Ham. What are your thoughts on keeping 0.5 to 1 million in your bank in your Game Week 1 team? I think I did post a story on this as well. If you can keep 0.5 in your Game Week 1 draft, that's the best thing that can happen, because that will allow you to make your transfers and be very flexible with your team going ahead. Kufal versus Cresswell. Cresswell is the better one in terms of set pieces and potential assist threat. If you're looking at for value, I think Kufal beats Cresswell for value for sure. What do you think Grealish if he goes to City? I think it's a waste. I think it's waste because, and I think Mahrez is waste as well. Because if Grealish wasn't there, I think there were four forwards, 4 wingers at this moment for the first 3 game weeks, and 2 positions, maybe 3 if Pep plays a false 9. And now if Grealish goes there, there'll be Sterling, Mahrez, Torres, there'll be Foden, there'll be Grealish. There's 5, 6 wingers and 2 positions. And honestly, I think Grealish will play most part of the games, but again, then Foden will be getting hampered. There's Sterling that won't get a lot of chance. I think Sterling will play the lesser amount of minutes in this season. Mahrez will get rotated very often. Torres, and then I think what to me most likely it looks like Sterling will be the player who gets sold. Grealish on the left, Torres and Jesus will get rotated in the false nine rotation. Jesus as a striker, Torres as a false nine. Mahrez and probably Foden required on the right. That's what I think will happen. But if Grealish goes there, I'll stay away from the City assets in game week 1 because I don't know what lineup will be deployed in game week 1 itself. Okay, so Will Ole said that Lingard in his plan, Sancho, Martial, Cavani. No, he did not say that Lingard is in his plan, and I think Lingard will get loaned off or sold to some club. I don't see Lingard being in plans for United's future. Wow, Areola is 5 million. Fabianski could be rotated with Southampton last year. Areola, I think he'll be the keeper that is needed for the Europa League games probably, and Fabianski is somewhat injury prone. Okay, so a lot of you guys have been asking what premium players should we pick. I have already compared the premium players. If you want to see, I've already put that premium comparison. We've seen that Kane is the best, then there's followed by Salah, Bruno, Kevin De Bruyne, Son. If you look at non-penalty XG per 90 minutes, I think Son tops them. It's almost similar. Bruno is highly dependent on penalties, and if United signed a center defensive midfielder or maybe Neves, I think Bruno's appeal will reduce drastically because then they will deploy a 4-3-3. As far as NB reading, unless if they don't sign a CDM, they will stick to a 4-2-3-1, which they have been playing for the entire season last season. What I know of the United news as now is Sanchez expected to play on the left, not on the right. If he plays on the right, then Martial is expected to be deployed on the left and not Greenwood. And I also read an article where Ole was talking about how he wanted to use Greenwood as a striker and develop him there and not Cavani. And I did read it like 15-20 minutes prior to the stream. So I've been digging up more information on the Greenwood thing. But as of now, it looks like the Greenwood isn't that safe that we thought initially. I do have him in my drafts, because Martial isn't fit for game week 1, Martial might not be fit for game week 2 as well. Rashford is out till November. I do have Greenwood in my team, but I'm not 100% sure after reading that article, and I will closely monitor what Ole says before game week 1. We're talking about premium players. A lot of you guys will have Kevin De Bruyne, Bruno, Salah and everyone. I had a simple theory that if you're buying a 12 million player, you're likely to captain him. And I stick to that because if you're buying a 12 million player and he's not potentially a captain candidate, I don't think it's worth it. You don't have to captain him, but he should be a potential captain candidate in that particular game week. So I dug up a bit. I made a table which talks about captaincy from game week 1 till game week 5. It has the player name, the opposition they play, and I've put in home and away very specifically because it matters this season. There will be fans, and there are a lot of theories that will prove you that home fans do and home teams do better at home, and when you're playing away, you're slightly less effective. Opposition minutes per XG considered is the XG considered by that opposition team either at home or away. Same for big chances. I've compiled it for Norwich. I couldn't compile big chances for Norwich and Watford, but the rest are done. And I've highlighted the best possible captaincy options for the first 5 game weeks. We'll do this for almost every week, the entire season, I think. If you guys like it, let me know if you find this useful. So for the first game week, you have Salah, Bruno, Havertz, Antonio. In terms of minutes per XG conceded, Bruno is like Leeds are the worst team away from home in terms of XG conceded minutes per XG conceded. They're also the worst team away from home for minutes per big chance conceded. Not only just away from home, they're also in that game week, they're the worst team to probably target for minutes per XG as well. So that makes Bruno the most I mean, not the best, but I think the better captaincy option if he plays in a 4-2-3-1, not in a 4-3-3. I know there's a lot of hype Salah and everything. He'll be the most captain player. But realistically, going stat wise, Norwich at home defend decent. They concede in most of the goals in the last 10, 20, 15 minutes, not in the start. At times, if they do concede in the start, I've also dug up this that if they concede in the first 15 minutes, they're likely to concede 3 goals. Not more, but 3 goals. 2.7 to be exact. When we move to game week 2, we have Bruno, but again he's ideally not the best captaincy option. Southampton are really good at home. That's not a fixture. Tony looks like a very good fixture, which also makes me prove. I mean, that is also a reason why I have him in my game week 2, not just to captain him, but also it just reflects how good he could be as an option. Obviously, Crystal Palace will have a more defensive manager. He has good centre backs right now. Mitchell is going to play left back again, but it just gives you an idea of how Crystal Palace are at home. They're not that great in terms of big chances, especially they're one of the worst teams that have remained in the Premier League at the moment. So they're one of the worst teams in terms of big chances conceded as well. Coming to game week 3, I don't have Salah. I have Son and Kane obviously against Watford. That looks like the most likely captaincy candidate. Wolves could be a surprise package. I'm not expecting Wolves to be very defensive. Game week 4 again, Bruno is the best captaincy option. Game week 5 it is Salah. But when I overall look at the picture, I have two places where Bruno is the standout captaincy option. Salah is, I think, once, and Son, Kane, and Tony share once as well. So what gives me an idea is I do want to start with Salah and Bruno, despite them being template, because of the fact that Leeds away from home, it's going to be an open game. I know they have their first pairing of centre back, but they would want to play that free flowing game against an opposition they directly want to play. And United fans will push Ole, and Ole will want to put a performance, and he usually does at home. So that's something on my mind as well. If in case what I'm planning is if in case I go Salah captaincy, I might double up on Bruno plus Greenwood. So yeah, statistically speaking, Bruno might be slightly a better captaincy option than Salah in game week 1. However controversial it be, I do think that Bruno will, if he plays in a 4-2-3-1, he will match Salah's haul. And that is why I think you probably should start with Bruno in your team in game week 1. And if Grealish goes to City, you're not sure of who starts for City. Son again has a very tough fixture. So ideally what you can do is either go Mane or Bruno in game week 1 and then switch them to probably a City player, Kevin De Bruyne or Son in game week 2. Thoughts on Mahrez, Bowen, Dele Alli. Mahrez again, if Grealish happens, rotation risk. Bowen is a decent option. He's been doing good in the preseason, really playing attacking football. I don't like Ali. I wouldn't trust those Spurs players until I see them perform, until and unless Ali starts. Because if Kane is back, Son has shift to the left. There could be a case where Moura or Bojan, someone could be deployed in that cam role. I want to be sure that if Ali is playing and getting those minutes. Double up on Bruno and Sancho. I wouldn't double up. I would double up on Bruno and Greenwood. I don't see the upside of the 2 million between Greenwood and Sancho. Also, there are a lot of sources reporting and a lot of Man United fans as well that Sancho will be benched for the first game week. He will not be in the starting 11, and which I also feel that Ole will not push him into the starting 11 against Leeds at home in the very first game. Tony Pukki rotation is a good thing to consider. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's not rotation. It's just hopping on and off. So you go with Tony. If he does good, you stick to him. If he doesn't, you switch to Pukki. That's pretty much decent. Based on Liverpool's preseason, Mane could be a better pick than Salah. Yeah, he could, and that is why I'm saying that game week 1, ideally I would stick to either a Salah Bruno combination or a Salah Mane combination. I don't think you should overthink this. Go for a differential, maybe Son or Kevin De Bruyne. I think the safest combination in the premium category to go is Salah and Bruno. You can, and then depending on performance, you can switch around. But I think those are the best players to go with. And in the second game, you can either switch Bruno to Son or De Bruyne depending on the performances. Thoughts on Bundia? I think he's a decent option on Aston Villa, and he's in multiple drafts. Yes, Grealish leaving will affect Watkins a lot, which is true. And if you have Watkins and if Grealish goes, I wouldn't keep Watkins in my draft. because a lot of his points have come when Grealish was playing. I know Bundia can do that creativity, but he's too deep and he's not as dynamic as Grealish. If you guys in the chat have any other questions on premiums, you can put it out now. We discuss that as well. I hope you. I have plotted a decent picture in terms of what I wanted to say out. But again, if you're paying 12 million for a player, make sure he's in your captaincy plans. And if as far as I see, I think Bruno in game week 1 and 4 especially are top prime. He's the top prime captaincy candidate in those game weeks. Salah for game week 5 is pretty much nailed on Crystal at home. With Salah game week 1, I'm not really sure of it away at home. So I look into that. I most likely will go Bruno captaincy against at home against Leeds. But let's see. Will Kane play in game week 1? Yes, he will. Yes, most of the English players will be back by game week 1. What does the number of means in head-to-head league in settings? Number of knockouts means number of knockout runs, quarter, semi, and final. So the max you can have is 3. Brownhill or Gilmore, either of them, it doesn't really matter. Gilmore might be on set pieces or corners, as far as I know, so that could be an edge over there. Thoughts on Benrahma? I would avoid. I would go for Bowen. I haven't seen any sparking performance or news on Benrahma in the preseason as well. 3 forwards for the first 3 game weeks. Now there are 9 or 10 forwards. I think Tony is a nailed on forward. Between Watkins, Antonio, Wilson, I would preferably pick 2 of them. And just that's it. I think I will pick only 2 of those 3s and stick with Tony. That would be the idea. Greenwood, Cavani instead of Bruno. Both will play for the same position, I think, and both won't start in the same game. So that's a huge loss of position and money. Liverpool double defense, Robbo and Trent. You can go for it. Ideally, I would suggest that go for points per million. Go for Trent plus a cheaper defender. Will Ariola be 4.5 or 5 in your opinion? I think it would be 5. He had a decent season last time. Havertz or Son for game week 1. If I had to pick a punt, I would go for Havertz for sure. I mean, look at the fixture. It's Crystal at home. And he's also there for captaincy. If you look at all season, Crystal have considered 40 minutes per big chance. Considered as 41.9. And he is, if you look at the captaincy ticker, in the top 4 player captaincy options, Havertz is the best in terms of minutes per XG considered overall in the season. But obviously away from home, Crystal tend to defend more, and you can see that in the stats as well. Is it 5? It's announced. Oh, great! I predicted correctly. Proud. Salah or Havertz game week 1 captaincy. I would stick to Salah. Also, it's not a basic tip, but something you can keep in mind is that don't go ultra defensive for captaincy and everything in game week 1, 2, 3, 4, probably till 5, 6. Even if your team is exactly template, stick to it. It is template for a reason. If they're performing, just stick to them. Don't go differential because it's not necessary in the very start of the season. It's a 38 game week game. There are a lot of opportunities where you'll have to pick a differential captain. You can go differential player. The start of the season is not the really best time. Stick to the best options. Even though I've mentioned Tony, Havertz, Antonio, Iheanacho, I would not even recommend you when the game week comes to go for them unless the other players are really bad, like other teams are performing really bad or their opposition is really bad or poor. I think sticking to the premium and the proven assets is the best strategy at the start. Will you have DCL in your team? That will look into my team. I discussed thoughts on Digne. I think he was playing really, really good, and he's cutting inside into the box, which is something really I didn't see it last year as well. I did see it last year, and I think if it's back, and if he's getting inside the penalty area, his assist threat is there. He's on set pieces, and his goal threat also increases. So it's a great buy. I do think that he'll do better than Shaw in the first 6 game weeks. I genuinely think that. 4 million defender. There are none that are playing at the moment, so you can get the Norwich guy or probably stick to Williams. I think don't go for Williams in my opinion. Go for the Norwich guy or probably Duffy. Do you mind if I copy your team exactly each game week this season? You can. I mean, if you have faith in me, you can definitely. I don't mind. But I would really encourage you guys to take your own decision, man. You probably can think you can decide on what stats we show. Probably play ASR. You can play ASR. He will be playing this season. Should you have him in the first week team? Probably not. I don't see it as a very good thing. And also we had midfielders comparison, the setup ready. Uh, Let me know if you guys can see it clearly. I've highlighted the best midfielder in every category, and it looks like Diego Jota is the best in penalty area touches per 90, shots per 90, shots inside the box per 90, big chances total per 90, XGI per 90. For chances created in minutes, big chances created and minutes per chances created, Grealish is obviously there. But again, the problem with Jota for me is that he might play game week 1. I'm very skeptical of him playing game week 2, 3, and 4 or starting them. So between the 6, 7 options here, I would stick to Havertz for game week 1 punt. Probably Bundia. I've not put in Bundia because of the lack of stats, and he's slightly lesser on bracket. I've put in Rafinha only because of the popularity, just to put in a comparison with clear picture. Madison for me is better than Barnes. Barnes is not really fit. Also, for a lot of people asking me about Barnes, Barnes might not play in a midfield 4. So if someone has to leave that midfield 4 to fit in a 4-4-2, Barnes could be the guy. Because you need Tielemans, you need Madison. They can play Barnes, but again, they need NDD as well. So I'm not sure if Barnes could be the guy. So I would ideally stay off Barnes at the moment. Even Madison, because there are rumors of transferring him getting transferred to Arsenal. So you don't want to buy Madison and then he gets transferred out to Arsenal. At this moment, realistically, the best midfielder options you have is either Grealish if he stays, that's best. Havertz for game week 1. I do like Greenwood for the game week, for 6 game weeks if we get confirmation. Bundia is also on my list. Apart from that, there are budget options. There is the likes of Bowen as well if you want to look at. But maybe Son, yes, obviously he's there. But apart from that, I would avoid the other differential Ali's and probably Townsend, James Rodriguez, and Madison. Stones or Dini at the moment. Nuri or Ben White. I think Ben White is probably much more defensively stable. What do you think about Werner? I don't think about Werner. I wouldn't even recommend you guys going about Werner. When you look at the macro team strategy of Chelsea, we are not a team that will be going out and scoring a lot of goals. We have immense squad depth, so we will rotate. And we are a more defense approach team, and that is what Tuchel's system is as well. So we will be sticking to most games will be like a 1-0, 2-0. When there is a very weak opposition, yes, we will attack. We will go for a probably 4-3-4 nil win or 3-4-1 win. But majority of the games, what I think Chelsea will play is a 1-0 or 2-0. Havertz could be a good punt for game week 1 if you want to take, because it's only for 1 week. But overall, I don't expect Chelsea to play very attacking football. I think it's going to be more conservative way, like City did last season. It's going to be more system based. It's going to be more defense oriented, and that is how Chelsea will play. Top 2 defenders for 5.5: Dini and Shaw. That's without a doubt. Okay, we'll look into my team finally. We will prepare the draft that I've been thinking of the entire day. So now I've put in Foster for a reason. Backman is also, has been linked with Ajax recently, so there is a chance that Backman leads to Ajax, which makes Foster the only playing keeper for Watford at the moment. They have a backup keeper, but Foster will be preferred. I know for a fact that Watford will sign someone, but for the first 3, 4, 5 weeks, there could be a chance that Foster plays a couple of games. So maybe if you can get him against the Brighton game, maybe if required, the Norwich game when Sanchez plays Leicester, that could be great. So he's in my team. Lamptey is unfortunately not. Trent is there. Cancelo is there. I've kept the Norwich 4 million defender. I think he's a decent pick. Don't have to worry about him a lot. Now, what my team actually looked like was I had Nouri in my team and I had left that place open, and I'll tell you why. So I have Bruno in there. It could be Mane. It's a 12 million player basically. We have Bundia in there because of the fixtures. Where can I find Bundia? Yeah. We have Bundia in there. And we have DCL, Tony, and Antonio as the forward line. Antonio could be Wilson, I don't really think. So what point 5 allows me, instead of not going Shaw, I can afford Bundia and Greenwood. So if I go Shaw, either I'll have to downgrade Bundia to a Harrison or a Greenwood to someone like a Madison or a Zaha. And I think both of them are downgrades. If there is no news that Greenwood isn't, if there is news that Greenwood won't start or something like that, then obviously I will downgrade Greenwood to some other 7 million player. Might go Rafinha. I think maybe Madison. We'll look into that later on. For now, I think Greenwood is my first choice option. At 5 million, I might go Kufal at very start. I'm not looking at any other defender at the moment because I haven't looked deep into defenders. Have stuck to midfielders and attackers. I think this could be my lineup at the moment. This is my draft. Watkins or Nacho? Have discussed on Nacho. He was playing way too deep when Leicester were playing. For me, it's an avoid at the very start because of his positioning. We'll take up questions. This is my draft. If you have any other questions, team reviews and everything, put it in the chat and we'll answer them all. Start with Yota and change to Greenwood for game week 2. You can probably, if there is news of Yota starting. Also, make sure that that's a great point. I would also want to add that you can do that for everyone who's going Havertz for a 1 week punt. Also think that you can use that as a 1 week punt, but I would recommend that using your game week 2 transfer or transferring out your premium. Either it could be Fernandes to Kevin De Bruyne or to a Son. If you have Mane to Kevin De Bruyne or Mahrez or Grealish, I would recommend you to use your transfer to get in a City or a Tottenham player in game week 2 rather than using your transfer to get out a Jota or a Havertz from game week 1. I think there is, I mean, if you have Havertz, then it's fine. You can probably get in Grealish or Mahrez easily, and that could be a decent move as well. But it's always easier to downgrade than upgrade because you'll also have to leave some funds in the bank for that. So as an overall strategy, I would recommend you to at least think about this when you're planning your transfers. Abhishek Rai says 7.5 million midfielder forward. The best 3 according to me is Tony, Antonio, Watkins, actually 4, Wilson. I wouldn't go past these 4 forwards at the moment. Plan to replace Tony plus Greenwood with Dallas and Bamford in game week 4. Good idea. Yeah, it looks like a decent idea. Dallas, I'm not really confident. If you have 0.5 more, Harrison is a much more better buy. This decision is accepted by 442 League. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Abhishek, put it together in one chat. Cresswell says Shaw is definitely attacking much more threat, and the number of chances that Shaw is created is much more. So the overall attempts that Shaw will get will also be helpful. Also, if Sancho plays on the left, he's more likely to cut inside, go inside, which is he's done in the past in Dortmund as well. He will, if he plays on the left, he'll be doing that. That allows Shaw to overlap as well, which I think could be decent. If he's playing way too inside as an inside forward, then Shaw might not get inside the box. It will increase his assist potential. He'll have to cross the ball, but his goal potential will automatically go down. Sancho or Havertz for game week 1? I think Havertz. Sancho might not even start, and I don't really go with players who've just come to the Premier League. Avoid them. I think Havertz has proven he'll play in the first 9 role. Much better player to start with in the season. Best 6 million midfielder, I think it's Harrison, without a doubt, for me. I'll just check if there are any other 6 million players as well, but I think for me it is Harrison. Yeah, it's Harrison, without a doubt. There is Smith Rowe, but again he's not that impressive to me. Harrison. Sarr could do, but again Sarr hasn't proven himself, so I would. And also why Tony? I don't think Tony fixtures would matter for Tony, or the argument that he's never played in the Premier League matters a lot for Tony is because Brentford as a team are a very attacking team. Their mentality, their strategy, everything is attacking. So they will irrespectively play the attacking style of football, irrespective of the league, irrespective of the opposition. 53% goal involvements for Brentford were through Tony. So I think that will be a good buy overall. And he's 32% on. And if he doesn't play well, there are 3-4 fixtures. If he doesn't do well, it's a very easy move to Pookie in game week 4. Downgrade DCL to 7.5 and upgrade Kufal to Shaw. Again, I want DCL. His fixtures are incredible. Also, if you look and it means an unnecessary transfer. If I go to someone like a Watkins or a Wilson, I can, but look at these fixtures: Southampton, Leeds, Brighton, Aston Villa, Norwich. United in 7 is fair enough. West Ham, Watford, Wolves in 11 in Tottenham. So I think even till game week 12, there is not a lot of tough fixtures for Everton. I think they can really do good, and it saves you a transfer at the end of the day. I don't mind going to for I mean going a subpar defender, maybe even switching to a 0.45 defender and letting go of Shaw for the first 4 or 5 game weeks. This could actually be Matip, but let's see. Best 4.5 defenders. There are a lot. When you took look at attacking returns, I think Nouri would be the standard option. Lampt is second, followed by him. Defensively, I think it's going to be Ben White. He's going to be the guy. Ailing isn't that great defensively. I'm not banking on Ailing. Apart from that, Fofana, if he starts, could be decent as well. Should I get Bruno or take Sancho and Kevin De Bruyne instead? If you can get Kevin De Bruyne and Sancho, that's fair enough as well. It's up to you. It depends on captaincy. Again, I'm stressing on this enough that if you're buying a 12 million player, he's not in your captaincy plan. I don't think it's worth it, because if you're not captaining him, you can still get another player who can cover up the points for you. Jimenez, I think first 3 weeks just watch, and maybe after that, if you have Watkins or Antonio, you can switch. Current draft midfielders: Salah, Harrison, Kai, Son. So game week 2, Kai to Mahrez/Torres. Now you'll have to. This is also tricky, that you'll have to figure out who's going to start between Mahrez and Torres. If you can, well and good. I think it's a decent draft. Get Greenwood or Jota. I would go with Greenwood if there is news of him starting. Yeah, we did a comparison of Greenwood and Jota. Jota is statistically better, but the minutes is a concern. If you're okay with spending a transfer on Jota and taking him out after game week 1 or 2, then he's a better option overall. But and also that just reminds me that again yesterday Chamberlain was playing in the false 9 role. He again scored. I'm not even sure that if Jota starts the first one. And I remember that Klopp did mention that he wants to use Chamberlain in a false 9 role this season much more. That is something to monitor. That actually puts down the argument for me. If Chamberlain is used in another friendly as a false 9, I don't see him starting I don't see Jota starting game week 1, because that was always in plan. Chamberlain as the false 9, Salah on the right, Mane on the left. So for everyone who's going Jota, that's something you really need to monitor. And if Chamberlain starts again, I don't see Jota starting. Fofana expected to start right now. It depends on what formation Leicester plays. Why not Brownhill over Gilmour? No reason. You can pick Brownhill. He's bench for me. He's never going to come on. Preferably my defender will come on as the first sub. It doesn't matter. Also, Gilmour could be on corners, which is the reason I picked him. Bamford plus Dallas or Iheanacho plus Harrison. I think Jimenez plus Harrison. Will Nouri start? He's expected to. I would wait and watch. I most likely will change Nouri to someone else and wait and watch. Let's see. Thoughts on Son and Mahrez over Fernandes? I did that, but the problem is that if Grealish goes to City, Mahrez rotation will come into play, and I don't want to deal with Mahrez rotation. If Grealish doesn't happen, I think if Grealish stays at probably Aston Villa, then my draft would somewhat look like this only. And I will have 1.5 in the bank to easily upgrade. Let's say not even Kufal, maybe a Shaw, maybe a Van Bissaka, not even Van Bissaka, Cresswell, there's Diaz, there's a lot of players basically. Tierney is there. Point being that if Grealish does not go, I think it is safer to pick Mahrez as a player, and he will perform, but that guarantees you minutes. With Grealish, it doesn't guarantee you minutes. No, not Greenwood. I think Gilmour on corners. I'm sorry if I said Greenwood. Gilmour probably could be on corners. What about James Rodriguez for Jota? You can go. I am not sure of James Rodriguez. One, for his injuries. And you can go for the midfielder. I'll just wait and watch with James Rodriguez because of the injury concern. Best 5.5 midfielder, Smith Rowe. What's your target for game week 2? Touching City or going without? For me, it looks like I'm going to go with City. So that is why I have picked in Bruno and all of those players. So that is the plan. So if Chamberlain could be a 6 million option as well, but Anyways, the plan is to go with a City player instead of Fernandes or Salah. But because they offer you extremely good captaincy and without a doubt at home, probably if Kevin De Bruyne is nailed, I think I'll go Bruno to Kevin De Bruyne in game week 2, and that sorts the problem for me. For game week 3, I'll be looking back to probably going Son. Yeah, that could be it. The other option I have is I might let go of Salah in game week 2 because it's Burnley. I'm not captaining him. It's the very first game week as well. Stick to Bruno, get in Man City player for Norwich. Uh, Salah has Chelsea game week 3, which I will also not captain. Get the City player off, get for the Spurs player. Uh, yeah, and probably against Leeds, let off captain Bruno or change Bruno to Salah. That could be an option as well. But I'm sticking to two premium midfielders. I think that's pretty much nailed on as a thought. Thoughts on Vidra when fit, or is there so much rotation with Barnes, Rodriguez, and everyone? Wood is going to be nailed on. I think Vidra is the third preferred striker. I think it's Barnes and Rodriguez will be competing for the second spot. Jimenez, Iheanacho plus Harrison or Bamford Harrison post game before. I think Jimenez plus Harrison is a really good combination. So yeah, that is it for preview 1. I think we discussed midfielders. The preference of premium midfielders still stays with me for captaincy. It is Salah, Bruno, followed by game week 2 Kevin De Bruyne and then Son. Below that, I think Grealish, if he stays at Aston Villa, is absolutely nailed on as a midfielder. Mahrez is there, Greenwood is there. I am not confident on Jota. I would not even rate him in the top 5 after me remembering the Chamberlain news. I think then Bundia is a much better option. Even Sarr preferably for Jota. There could be a case that he doesn't even start game week 1. Cavani to start game week 1? Yes, probably. By when do we know if Greenwood is started? Probably game week, closer to the game week. Salah to Kevin De Bruyne, Bruno to Salah. Are you planning too many transfers? Yeah, probably I am planning too many transfers. It also depends on how many injuries I have to come across. But that is the entire plan, that I rotate with my premiums in the first 4 game weeks to get the maximum points out of captaincy and not worry. And so the entire team will be around that. I don't want to spend players. I don't want to spend transfers on other players because captaincy is important. And if you look at the ticker again, there aren't a lot of options when you look at captaincy. I think standout option maybe Tony, and if you let go of Kevin De Bruyne, Mahrez, maybe just go Son directly in game week 2, captain Tony against Crystal if that happens. Game week 3 you have Son. Game week 4 you can go probably back to Bruno from Son. That could be an option as well. But yeah, but the entire plan is to nail on captaincy in the very start because that will give you the boost required. I'm not looking to go very differential at the very start. City midfielder essential for the first few game weeks. No, they are essential for game week 2. Apart from that, no. I don't see them really doing exceptionally great maybe in game week 5 against Southampton they'll do good, but not exceptional. Kevin De Bruyne or Mahrez, it depends on Grealish. If Grealish goes to City, there could be a scenario which we might see in game week 1 as well, that Kevin De Bruyne doesn't have to drop deep. With Grealish is the player who's taking the ball on the wing. Kevin De Bruyne doesn't have to float. He doesn't have to play as a floating midfielder. He will stick to probably the wing, cross more, or get inside the box more, play around the edge of the box and inside the box. So if Grealish takes up that responsibility and role, Kevin De Bruyne could be lethal in game week 2. He'll get inside the box much more. So that could be a thing. So if Grealish does well in game week 1, I think I'll stick to Kevin De Bruyne and captain him in game week 2. The other option is that we get Bruno out or Mane out in game week 1. I think I'll stick to Bruno. I think I'll get him out for Kevin De Bruyne in game week 2. Game week 3, Kevin De Bruyne to Son, which allows me a lot of funds, which I can use that funds to even upgrade Bundia to someone, or Greenwood to Sancho if required by then. So yeah, and I just let go of the option of Bruno Newcastle captaincy. Probably good for a Son Crystal captaincy or a Salah Leeds captaincy. Yeah. Thanks, Dhruv. Uh, Pepe in Game Week 4, it depends on how Pepe performs, how Arsenal perform. They're not a very dependent attacking side, so their players are always in the mix. I think if Saka or Smith Rowe perform better, or even perform half, I think the value they are at and the price they are at, there will be much better options. Will Sancho start? Not the first week. I think after that he'll start regularly. I am not expecting him to start Game Week 1. Okay, guys, that should be it. I don't have any other points to put out. If you have any questions, you can ask. And for the people who are watching, if you haven't liked the stream, really hit the like button. You've seen me talk for an hour without stopping. I hope you see our efforts, the amount of efforts this is in. So do hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel. It really helps us grow as a channel. Mine Game Week 1, I don't expect him to start. I think it's going to be much more for Dan James kind of a situation where he'll play much more counter-attacking side against Leeds and he'll not put in Sancho directly into the mix. Thanks, Varun. Okay, on that note, we'll wrap it up. I think 2 more people like the stream, or 3 more people, I think. So yeah, if there are no more questions, we'll wrap it up. We will do another stream on Defenders next week probably. And for everyone, you guys can keep posting, keep texting what comparisons or stats and everything you want. We will keep improving on the channel. And also this season, the frequency for live streams might decrease. So there could be impromptu streams on Instagram because of the workload I have in the office. There could be some decrease, but I'll try to keep up as much as I can. So yeah. Yeah, we probably will continue the captaincy chart for Game Week 6, 7, 8 and the entire season if possible. Money, we discussed that avoid Pepe in 4. I think there are better options available. And when Bissaka going to be the defender with most assists this season, you'll see. Probably. Let's see. On that note, we'll wrap it up. This is FPL Tips signing off. Cheers.